This is the Omega Arts by David McCain. This is the same information of the Kundalini within the practices of Tantra. So this is also something that I've just recently posted about Jeffrey Epstein was involved in. So it's something for you people to take note of, that those people that are watching me in America, the most notorious American pedophile in years, Jeffrey Epstein, was reading this literature about Kundalini and the Tantra. Now, that's something they attempted to hide through mainstream media with all the pagan idol worship out on Epstein Island. That's why they attempted to remove it all, because of the fact that when you start to understand through this utilization process as interpretation Romaine, they can use these avatars, one god for another, but they're all still worshiping the sun gods. So this is how, take for instance somebody like Brad Holder, who is subscribed to becoming a loyal member of these Odins, of the Odinists, Vinlander group, right? But then within that, he's also a member of the Freemasons. So now you have him affiliated to two different cultures. But not only that, him and Patrick Westphal then get in an argument because he's then caught going into a church. Because through this process, they can like Brad Holder, for instance, he can understand how Odin can be seen as somebody in the church. He can understand how Odin can be seen as Pan or even Yaldabaoth. There's different gods that they'll have within an association. So I'm not saying this is the specific god, but for instance, they have a way of identifying Odin with Yahweh. They claim, that's just another avatar throughout cultural identification. So this was the creation of a character that never truly existed within that mythology, but in order to identify that mythology within that culture, they had to create this avatar or this character, right? This is part of it. Because when you get into the Gnosticism, which is something that the Freemasons, it's like a hidden key that they don't want you to find out about, because this is how they've utilized this process where Brad Holder has through this interpretation, so how they can go to church and hide in plain sight and claim, oh, Jesus is God, because they believe by saying Jesus is God, they're saying Hail Zeus, which is a way of saying Hail Odin, which is a way of saying Hail Lord or Hail Yahweh, which is what Brad Heath was doing that day when he was out there blowing the shofar. That shofar that he was out there blowing and quoting scripture from was because these people all have a common motive. They have a common agenda, right? Whether or not it's been identified properly is besides the point. You have to start to break down now the process of how this ties in to all of these people that were within the timeline and crime scene, because of what it is they're out there with, in their own words, claiming that they are practitioners of. The Omega Arts by David McCain is something that he claims that he's been involved in for over 22 years, right? And that was published in 1992. So this is somebody that was most likely going around teaching people an ancient magic, an ancient practice that is extremely unstabilizing to the human psyche, especially if you consider somebody might have PTSD from going into a war, and then you start teaching them things about ways of letting demons into your mind That's what this is all about. It's all about clearing your mind to let things into your mind, to let them take over so you have no consciousness left, basically, right? Because you're attempting to let that consciousness connect with your consciousness so it would delete what form of your consciousness will for a period of time. You understand? This is within their ideology. This is shit that they won't come out and say straight faced or give you a straight answer because they want to walk it around with these esoteric fucking subliminal messages where, you know, it's like they're dragging it out and they're talking all subliminal and shit because they don't want to just fucking come out and say, look, they worship a demon. The demon is what they believe is the demon that they created in this God, and the way to contact him is through rituals and ceremonies of ancient times that have been removed but been rediscovered by people that shouldn't have this information because they are extremely unstable, they are extremely dangerous, and they don't hold back with who it is they may or may not be teaching. And that's what's going on here right now, and that's why all of this needs to be looked at by real fucking investigators. Anyways, right, you got to go over all of this and read what he's talking about. And he's talking about semen retention to contain power. So this is all about power to you, right, David?